Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Before Coffee. It's Good News Tuesday, which means we will be covering some good stuff that's happening. And I have seen a couple things that might be bad, but actually might be good, depending on your perspective. So let's go ahead and get into our news stories here. Today on Before Coffee, Paris Mayor Anne Hidalgo announces she's leaving Elon Musk's global sewer, Twitter.
More good news day involving Elon Musk. Swedish Tesla workers are threatening to strike.
Build Back Better. Meet the volunteers transforming communities across Portugal.
And eat the rich. As 1% of the richest population emits 16% of the world's CO2. But good news, you're rich.
Culture Review. Celebrating the best letters you've never read.
Stories and more, which is apparently letter writing day. And also, it is National Allen Day. Your name is Alan today. Happy Allen Day, November 28th, 2023, on Before Coffee.
Okay, first news story. This one's really short. By Associated Press. I refuse to endorse this evil scheme, Hidalgo said on the social media platform Twitter. She is currently helping Paris gear up for the 2024 Olympics. The mayor of the future Olympic host city, Paris, says she is quitting X, or Twitter, as I like to call it, accusing Elon Musk's platform, previously known as Twitter, of spreading disinformation and hatred and becoming a gigantic global sewer that is toxic for democracy and constructive debate. With its thousands of anonymous accounts and its troll farms, life on Twitter is the exact opposite of democratic life, Mayor Anne Hidalgo said in a long post titled, "Why I Am Leaving Twitter. I refuse to endorse this evil scheme," she wrote. An Associated Press request for comment emailed to Twitter got an automated reply. Busy right now, please check back later. Hidalgo's office said, I said busy because there's two B's in the article. They took two B's in the word busy. Hidalgo's office said post on Monday in French and English that announced her departure from Twitter would be the socialist mayor's last, and that she will then close her account, which has 1.5 million followers, at the end of the week. Her office said that Paris City Hall is keeping its own separate account on Twitter. Hidalgo's withdrawal from Twitter follows a fractious period for the mayor. She had faced criticism from the political opponents over the expense and need for a trip she made in October to the French South Pacific territories of New Caledonia and Tahiti. The Olympic surfer competition next July is being held on Tahiti's world-famous Taupo's wave. She also locked horns last week with government ministers over the French capital's readiness for the 2024 Summer Games. Hidalgo said some transport options won't be ready for the Olympic next summer. Firing back, Transport Minister Clement Benu said that the mayor's comments were a shameful attempt to divert attention from her Pacific voyage. Hidalgo's office said her decision to leave Twitter was not in response to a recent criticism, but thought out over time. Musk took control of Twitter in October 2022 and has dismantled some of its core features. We are dealing with an utterly clear political project to push aside democracy and its values in favor of powerful private interests, Hidalgo wrote. This medium has become a gigantic global sewer, and we should continue to wade into it. I guess she said, and should we continue to wade into it? Her answer is no. So this probably follows the line of a lot of people who have left Twitter for things like Blue Sky. I use Mastodon myself. That's the thing I use. Some people are even going to other places I've never heard of. Just all over the place. The internet's getting smaller yet again, just like in the old days when everyone was on a specific forum for the hobby they liked and never saw anyone else. I'm on this baseball forum, and all the people I talk to love baseball, and that's all I care about. Don't know if it's good or bad, but I guess time will tell, because we can't really see what's happening until we have that 2020 hindsight. Your story, I guess.
Well, Elon Musk is Ellen. You call him Ellen. I like it. Elon Musk. Let's leave him sexually ambiguous. His name is Ellen DeGeneres. In more Musk news, his other endeavors include Tesla, which is having some union troubles as they're trying to not be a union shop in a union world of car manufacturers. So this is from CNN.com. That's something I can't read. Dimitakova. It has taken nearly a month. The workers striking against Tesla in Sweden have finally drawn a response from the company's famously anti-union boss. "This is insane," CEO Elon Musk said Thursday on his social media platform. Musk was responding to the news that Swedish postal workers are refusing to deliver Tesla license plates, joining a wave of action and sympathy with mechanics who stopped servicing Tesla cars late last month. The industrial action soon spread as dock workers who started blocking deliveries of Tesla cars at the country's ports, to electricians who stopped maintenance work for the car maker, and other workers in Sweden expressed and reported. "This is about good wages, good pensions, and good insurance for all of our members who work at Tesla," Sweden's IF Metal Union, which called the original strike, said on its website. "We have been negotiating with Tesla for a long time. They have refused to sign a collective bargaining agreement to violate basic principles in the Swedish labor market. The country's workforce is heavily unionized, with around 9 out of 10 workers covered by collective agreements. By unionizing at Tesla has proven difficult. At least 3 attempts by its U.S. workers to organize have failed, mainly as consequences of aggressive tactics by the company and weak protections for labor in the United States. The National Labor Relations Board, a U.S. federal agency, has repeatedly called out Tesla and Musk for illegal and improper anti-union activities, such as interrogating employees and disciplining or otherwise discriminating against workers because they support unions. This year, the car maker fired more than 30 supporters of a nascent union at its facility in Buffalo, New York, just days after the organizing effort was announced. Musk, the world's richest man, has also been vocal about his opposition to unions and caused the ire of the Labor Relations Agency when it directed him to delete a 2018 tweet that hinted Tesla employees would lose their stock options if they formed a union. The strikes by Swedish workers may embolden Tesla's employees in Germany, where it has a large plant manufacturing electric vehicles and battery cells. German unions have pressured the company to implement a collective bargaining agreement for its 11,000 workers at the factory near Berlin, according to Reuters. IG Metall, a powerful German union, IG Metall, I think I might say, a powerful German union, says Tesla pays its workers less than other car makers in Germany and gets rid of employees who are sick too often. More than 1,000 workers at the factory joined the union during a day of protest last month. Earlier this year, Tesla lodged an application to double the production capacity of the plant, located about 30 kilometers from the German capital, to 1 million EVs. If the expansion happens, the factory will overtake Volkswagen's Boeing plant in Germany, in the German city of Wolfsburg, stealing its crown as Europe's biggest car factory. Well, good luck when you build that big old car factory and all your workers go on strike, which I hope happens to you. It couldn't happen to a worse person than Ellen. Your story, trying to break unions. The old rich guy is trying to do it. Old apartheid Clyde has his hands full.
Apartheid Clyde.
Apartheid Clyde, that's right.
All right. Well, while Apartheid Clyde is ruining all his business ventures, we have people who are trying to build stuff back better. That's right. There's volunteers in Portugal who are helping rebuild rundown houses, and occupants are given much more tender love and care by the volunteer group, which aims to actively involve beneficiaries with repairs and renovations. This is by Mohamed Elashi and Michael Roop on Euronews Culture. Scenes shines a spotlight on youth around the world who are breaking down barriers and creating change. The character-driven short film will inspire and amaze as these young change makers tell their remarkable stories. Driven by compassion and solidarity, and a remarkable movement quietly makes a difference across Portugal's scenic landscapes. Just a Change is a non-profit organization of dedicated volunteer builders, transforming people's lives in rundown homes one repair at a time. These modern-day heroes are on a mission that goes beyond construction. They are architects of change, determined to rebuild lives and restore dignity, from bustling city streets to peaceful rural corners. Their efforts resonate, echoing the struggles of families trapped in the housing deprivation. A group of university friends would regularly busk downtown in Lisbon. They became friends with local homeless people along the way and would buy them food with their earnings. After several weeks, rather than providing temporary relief, they wanted to do more. Their initial efforts of sharing meals with people without homes evolved into a deep commitment. Guilherme Fogosa is head of the operations of Just a Change, and he explains to Scenes. They decided to take a step back to think about this problem, and they came to the conclusion of addressing house poverty. In 2015, Guilherme joined Just a Change as a volunteer. There are way more organizations feeding the poor, and they're doing it better than us because they have years of experience. The first houses that we made, we jokingly said, they're probably worse than before because we had no experience, he jokes. He started gaining more experience, recruiting more volunteers, securing additional financing. With the help of financing, we could hire professionals who taught us, he said. The organization's first step is to locate families living in housing impoverishment. Though a local network of social partners, they identify those needing assistance. The volunteers acknowledge the severity of their situation and often welcomed assistance. I was amazed when I saw Just a Change tackle a very big problem in Portugal. Lourenço Duarte, one of the volunteers, tells Scenes. The conditions they have are 0 to none, adds volunteer Carlino Sampaio. Once the families are identified, Just a Change mobilizes the necessary resources for project implementation. The team gathers materials, coordinates logistics, and recruits volunteers who are willing to contribute their time and skills to the cause. You meet them at the start. You know their lives and see where they live, Lourenço continued. I feel accomplished because you can really see the change in these families' lives, Carolina added. The core objective of Just a Change lies in the rehabilitating houses in precarious conditions. Throughout the process, they prioritize building relationships with beneficiaries and actively involve them in renovation work. Antonio de Silva thought his house was beyond repair. It was already completely destroyed, he told Scenes. To take a bath, he had to heat water in a pot, take it to the bathroom and mix it. Added Antonio's daughter Sofia, the roof was almost falling, she described. By involving their families in the process, Just a Change fosters a sense of empowerment and ownership, allowing the beneficiaries to take a pride in transforming their homes and sharing these special moments with the volunteers. They are impeccable people, hardworking and ready for everything, says Antonio. They are wonderful people, always with a smile on their face. They never give a bad answer. They're always satisfied, always wanting to help, all of them. They are dear to me, adds Sophia. And then there's a little picture of them re-cementing a brick house because it, was starting to crackle and fall apart and look a lot more like mud. And they're reapplying it so that it can keep the cool in because it's Portugal, so it's probably really warm there. Volunteer builders like Lourenço and Carolina bear witness to the profound impact of the work of Just a Change. With unwavering determination, this organization strives to ensure that the positive changes achieved during rehabilitation endure in the long term. Today, Just a Change is a professionally qualified organization with 19 full-time staff members and thousands of volunteers throughout Portugal. Through their efforts in diagnosing, mobilizing resources, renovating homes, and providing follow-up support, these builders are transforming the lives of families in need and bringing hope to communities across the country. So there's your feel-good news about how you can also do this. You can also get some people. They started with 3 street performers, and now they're 19 plus thousands of volunteers that are helping to renovate homes that are in disrepair. And let's be honest, if you're from America, you see a lot of houses like that people just leave. nobody's gonna sell it either. The house just turns into a shack over
Oh yeah,
time.
bank forecloses, and they just don't care. It just turns to weed house.
Yeah. That's the end of my story.
Okay. In environmental news, the richest 1% emit as much planet heating pollution as 2/3 of humanity. This is from oxfam.org, UK. The richest 1% of the world's population produced as much carbon pollution in 2019 as the 5 billion people who made up the poorest 2/3 of humanity, according to a report published by Oxfam today ahead of the UN Climate Summit COP28. The report, Climate Equality, A Planet for the 99%, is based on research with the Stockholm Environment Institute. So all of our news is from Sweden today. It assesses the consumption emissions of different income groups, highlighting the stark gap between the carbon footprints of the super rich, whose carbon-hungry lifestyles and investments in polluting industries like fossil fuels are driving global warming, and the rest of the world. The study shows there's also a vast inequality in how the impacts of the rapidly changing climate are felt. It is people living in poverty, marginalized groups such as women and indigenous people in low-income countries who have done the least to cause it, who are suffering the worst consequences, and who are least able to respond to recovery. With climate change driving a rise in world temperatures, deaths from heat are set to increase dramatically, particularly in low-income countries. The report reveals that the outsized emissions of the richest 1% will cause 1.3 million heat-related excess deaths, roughly equivalent to a population of Dublin, with most of these deaths occurring between 2020 and 2030. Chiara Lagori, Oxfam's senior climate justice policy advisor, said, "The super rich are plundering and polluting the planet to the point of destruction, and those who can least afford it who are paying the highest price." The huge scale of climate inequality revealed, the report highlighted how the two crises are inextricably linked, fueling one another, and the urgent need to ensure the rising costs of climate change fall on those most responsible and able to pay. The gap between the super rich and the rest of us is stark. It would take about 1,500 years for someone at the bottom 99% to produce as much carbon as the richest billionaires do in a year. This is fundamentally unfair. Governments globally, including the UK, need to tackle the twin crises of inequality and climate change by targeting the excessive emissions of the super rich by taxing them more. This would raise much needed revenue that could be directed to a range of vital social spending needs, including a fair switch to clean, renewable energy, as well as fulfilling our international commitments to support communities already bearing the brunt of the climate crisis. Key findings from the report will show, with climate resilience on the agenda of Global Food Summit being hosted today by the UK government, Oxfam analysis shows that the long-term impacts of changing climate, such as chronically low crop yields and water scarcity, have already become a reality. Yet the richest countries and the richest people are the most insulated from the climate catastrophe they have caused. Around the world, soaring food prices spell out a future of hunger and malnutrition for people living in it, or at a risk of poverty, while the richest are able to absorb these additional costs. The Glory added, climate change is a burden not shared equally. Governments can and must act now. Like elsewhere, the climate crisis is exacerbating existing inequalities in the UK, and they will continue to do so unless the government accelerates the move to a fossil fuel-free future. Fossil future! Now I gotta clean the spit off my microphone. Anyway. Ensuring the biggest polluters and those with the most wealth are the ones who foot the bill. What is needed from the UK government is political courage to make them pay for their fair share of the damage they have caused and ensure their costs do not fall in the lower income households. Recent Oxfam research has also shown that UK government could have raised up to $23 billion last year alone if it had implemented a series of common sense taxes on the UK's biggest polluters, namely fossil fuel companies and the extremely rich. Oxfam calculates that global 60% tax on the incomes of the richest 1% would cut emissions by more than total emissions of the UK and raise 5.2 trillion pounds a year in pay for the transition away from fossil fuels to the renewable energy. The Stockholm Environment Institute's Emissions Inequality Dashboard is also available for participation. This report is based on the research of the Stockholm Environment Institute and assesses the consumption emissions of different income groups in 2019, the most recent year for which data is available. So there you go. The solution to our climate crisis is eat the rich. Eat the rich, eat the rich, and eat the rich.
Yep, all academics agree. I don't think there are any that disagree. All right.
They are tasty, I understand. Very tasty. They're well fed. Go ahead.
Like veal. That's supposedly what humans taste like veal.
Mm-hmm. Like chicken.
All right, for more culture, let's review the best letters that you've never read on Happy Letter Writing Day. This is from David Moore-Quant on Your News Culture. 20th November, Happy Letter Writing Day. It's Letter Writing Day, which is observed annually on the 28th of November. The celebration came about in 1922 when the first skywriting advertisement was created by Captain Cecil Turner for the Vanderbilt Hotel in New York City. It was a success, resulting in 47,000 phone calls for the hotel. Since we can't go out and create our own skywriting messages, more's the pity, the day now stands as a reminder that we can still pen messages on paper and send letters. Still, we're not going to win many of you over because since the first ever handwritten letter, which is thought to have been sent by the Persian queen Atossa around 500 BC, the practice of sending written communication has gradually become something of a lost art. So to celebrate, here are 7 letters you may not have read that deserve your attention. They're not necessarily the most well-known or history-altering of letters like Emile Zola's J'accuse or Martin Luther King Jr.'s letter from Birmingham jail. Nonetheless, these are only a few examples which can remind you of our unique joys and the importance of sending a letter. Number 1. Options. A letter sent to the Telegraph in 1913. Sir, everyone seems to agree upon the necessity of putting a stop to the suffragist outrages, but no one seems certain how to do so. There are 2 and only 2 ways in which this can be undone. Both will be effectual. Kill every woman in the United Kingdom. Give women the vote. Yours truly, Bertha Brewster. If you want the suffragettes to stop suffering, you're gonna have to kill us all. Good luck. Number 2, burn. Irish playwright George Bernard Shaw to Winston Churchill. Have reserved 2 tickets for my first night. Come and bring a friend if you have one. Shaw. Churchill's reply. Impossible to come to first night. Will come to second night if have one. Churchill. That's my best Churchill. The
good.
cheek. Author H.G. Wells discovered that he had taken the hat of mayor of Cambridge instead of his own. He sent the following note to the mayor. My dear mayor, I stole your hat. I like your hat. I shall keep your hat. Whenever I look inside it, I shall think of you and your excellent dry sherry of the town in Cambridge, which is older than the university. I take off your hat to you, H.G. Wells. Well, he was an author after all. Ouch. A short, succinct, epistolary reply from the director Alfred Hitchcock to an angry letter from a man whose daughter wouldn't go near a shower after seeing Psycho. Send her to the dry cleaners. She's too scared to take a shower. Well, you're gonna have to force it on her. Go, Johnny, go. A letter sent on the 15th of October, 1986 from American astronomer Carl Sagan to the singer-songwriter Chuck Berry on behalf of the Voyager Interstellar Record Committee. Dear Chuck Berry, when they tell you your music will live forever, you can usually be sure they're exaggerating. But Johnny B. Good is on the Voyager Interstellar Record attached to NASA's Voyager spacecraft, now 2 billion miles from Earth and bound for the stars. These records will last 1 billion years or more. Happy 60th birthday, with our admiration for music you have given this world. Go, Johnny, go. Carl Sagan. Cover letter. After working in advertising as a copywriter in New York City, Robert Piroche moved to Hollywood in 1934 with dreams of becoming a screenwriter. He sent the following cover letter to all of the directors, producers, and studio execs he could think of. Piroche went on to collaborate with the Marx Brothers and won an Academy Award in 1949 for Best Writing, Story and Screenplay for the World War II drama Battleground. Dear Sir, I like words. I like fat, buttery words such as ooze, turpitude, luteness, toady. I like solemn, angular, creaky words such as straight-laced, cantankerous, precocious, valedictory. I like spurious, black and white words such as mortician, liquidate, tonsorial, demi-mode. I will suave V words such as svengali, svelte, bavurata, verve. I like crunchy, brittle, cracky words such as splinter, grapple, jostle, crusty. I like sullen, crabbed, scowling words such as skulk, glower, scabby, churl. I like, oh heavens, my gracious, land's sake words such as tricksty, tucker, genteel, horrid. I like elegant, flowery words such as estivate, peregrinate, elsium, halcyon. I like wormy, squirmy, mealy words such as crawl, blubber, squeal, drip. I like sniggly, chuckling words such as cowlick, gurgle, burble, and burp. I like the words screenwriter better than copywriter, so I decided to quit my job in New York, advertising agency, and try my luck in Hollywood. But before taking the plunge, I went to Europe for a year to study, contemplation, and horsing around. I have just returned and I still like words. May I have a few with you? Robert Piroche. Would you hire that screenwriter? I have no idea. I'm not in the area of hiring screenwriters, so I don't know what I'm looking for. The Arlen. In June 1945, Arlen Feynman, the wife of the influential physicist and Nobel Prize winner Richard Feynman, died of tuberculosis. 16 months later, Feynman wrote the following letter, which remained sealed until after his death in 1988. Dear Arlen, I adore you, sweetheart. I know how much you'd like to hear that, but I don't only write it because you like it. I write it because it makes me warm all over inside to write about it. It is such a terribly long time since I last wrote to you, almost 2 years, but I know you'll excuse me because you understand how stubborn I am and realistic, and thought there was no sense in writing because she's dead. But now I know, my darling wife, that it is all right to do what I have delayed in doing, and that I have done so much in the past. I want to tell you I love you. I want to love you. I always will love you. I find it hard to understand in my mind what it means to love you after you are dead, but I still want to comfort and take care of you, and I want you to love me and care for me. I want to have problems to discuss with you. I want to do little projects with you. I never thought until just now that we can do that. We should do. We started to learn to make clothes together, or learn Chinese, or getting a movie projector. Can't I do something now? No. I'm alone without you, and you were the idea woman and general instigator of all our wild adventures. When you were sick, you worried because you could not give me something that you wanted to and I thought I needed. You didn't have worried. Just as I told you then, there was no real need because I loved you in so many ways so much. And now it is clearly even more true. You can give me nothing, yet I love you so that you stand in my way of loving anyone else. But I want you to stand there. You, dead, are so much better than anyone else alive. I know you will assure me that I am foolish and that you want me to have full happiness and don't want to be in my way. I bet you are surprised that I don't even have a girlfriend except you, sweetheart, after 2 years. But you can't help it, darling, nor can I. I don't understand it, for I've met many girls and very nice ones, and I don't want to remain alone. But in 2 or 3 meetings, they all seem ashes. You are only left to me. You are real. My darling wife, I do adore you. I love my wife. My wife is dead. Rich. Please, P.S. Please excuse me not mailing this. I don't know your new address. Happy letter writing day. That was the best one. That was the best one. All right, there's your heartfelt love letter to a dead wife, and all the other funny ones, like the one about the hat by H.G. Wells. That one's really good too. And yeah, you can write letters. I got written a letter by somebody on Twitter. They sent me a Christmas card. They wished me well and a happy new year. And it's that easy. You just put a stamp. Please make sure you put a stamp, because I had to pay for my letter because they didn't put a stamp on my letter. So I had to pay €4. Because I don't know, they probably sent it from America, so it was really expensive postage. But don't forget to put a stamp on your letter and send it to somebody, anyone. All right, this day in history.
had a book of letters, like letters people wrote, famous people. My favorite is the Groucho Marx one that he wrote to Warner Brothers. Because the Marx Brothers made a movie called The Night in Casablanca. And Warner Brothers sent him a cease and desist, their lawyer sent him a cease and desist letters. You can't use the name Casablanca because it's the name of our movie. And so Groucho writes them a letter and says, you can't use the word brothers because it belongs to the Marx Brothers. Dear Warner Brothers, you can't use the word brothers because it belongs to the Marx Brothers. That's so absurd that the cease and desist letter was. Casablanca is the name of a place. They didn't put the name of a movie.
You don't own Casablanca now because you made a movie about it. Yeah.
Did. Warner Brothers had to drop it. Yeah. This day in history. Hold on, I got a cough. Hold on. It'll be that season where I wake up with a cough. All right, this ain't history. See if we can get through this. Famed English poet and dramatist William Shakespeare married Anne Hathaway. You thought she was just a young actress. No, she's really, really old. Anne Hathaway. 1720, female pirates Mary Read and Anne Bonny went on trial and were subsequently convicted and sentenced to death. Their executions were postponed because both were pregnant, and then Bonny was eventually freed, though Reed died in prison. In 1757, English engraver, artist, poet, and visionary William Blake, whose notable works included poetry collections Songs of Innocence and Songs of Experience, was born. In 1820, German philosopher Friedrich Engels, creator of co-author with Karl Marx of the Communist Manifesto, was born. In 1872, William Rice became the first climber to reach the top of Cotopaxi, the world's highest active volcano in Ecuador. In 1908, French social anthropologist Claude Lévi-Strauss, the leading exponent of structuralism, was born in Belgium. In 1912, Albanian national delegates led by Ismail Kemal issued the Vlorë Proclamation, which declared Albania's independence. In 1919, Lady Astor became the first woman to sit on the British House of Commons. In 1960, the Mauritania declared its independence and left the French community. In 1961, renowned football player Ernie Davis of Syracuse University became the first African American to win the prestigious Heisman Trophy. Wow, took that long. And this day, 1962, American comedian and actor Jon Stewart was born. 1989, Queen Latifah released her debut album, All Hail the Queen, and its success helped redefine the traditional male genre of rap. 2012, Peter Jackson's The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey, the first of the series of movies based on the J.R.R. Tolkien book, had its world premiere in New Zealand. And our featured event today was the opening of the Tehran Conference. That's right, this day in 1943, the Tehran Conference, attended by U.S. President Franklin D. Roosevelt, British Prime Minister Winston Churchill, and Soviet Premier Joseph Stalin, at which the Stalin pressed for an invasion of France, opened this day in 1943. Other birthdays today feature biography Berry Gordy Jr., American businessman and musician who started Motown Records. Born on this day in 1929, he's 93 and still going. Happy birthday, Berry Gordy. Other birthdays today, besides Jon Stewart, who is basically my age, 1962, minus 11 days. He's 11 days older than me. And the same last name, even though you have to change it. Other birthdays, Randy Newman, American musician. Ed Harris, American actor. Alfonso Cuarón, American director and screenwriter. And National Day today. What is it? It is National French Toast Day. Oui. National Day of Giving. National Day of Giving is the Tuesday after Thanksgiving. So A few days, 5 days after you're thanking people for giving, you're back out and giving again. And it's also Red Planet Day today and National Alan Day. So if your name is Alan and you live on Mars, it is your day. Back to you. Oh, and that's it for me. All of the days for today.
All right, and this has been Allison here from the Netherlands on November 28th, 2023 of Before Coffee. And here is your mic drop moment.
When corporations fail, you pay for it. But when they succeed, it's theirs. They socialize their losses and privatize their gains. Why do we allow that?
Consider this. Wealthy people do not stash their billions in safe deposit boxes loaded with $100 bills. They don't do that. And they don't spend it all at the mall. They don't spend like crazy. No, wealthy people invest. It is investment that creates jobs and economic growth.
See, this is the lie they tell you, that all this money flowing towards corporate and moneyed interests is actually for your benefit. The government intervention for corporations is our free market, but government intervention for workers is socialism. And that's the reason for the socialism scaremongering. It's a false choice. To make you believe that this country has but two options: a socialist, authoritarian, hamburgerless Venezuelan nightmare, or accept the status quo, where large corporations benefit from government help, then use some of those profits to lobby the same government for more government help. They want you to believe that in a free market, while your wages stay low, someday the largesse will eventually trickle down. And in the meantime, enjoy watching your tax dollars help billionaires launch themselves into fucking space.
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.